Question everything, trust nothing. It's your boy BlockchainCrusader here. We're back for another episode of TA Thursdays Around the Charts. We got the one, only Bill Noble, and last but not least, Magic Internet Money. What's going on, boys? How's it doing?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Dude, it's great having you guys. This is my favorite episode of every single week. So let's get ready. You guys already know we're going to be talking about XRP today. Yes, I know I'm conflicted about it, but I always got some bad things to say about it. And I know I'm sure all of you guys are excited to hear about it. But Bitcoin at first, right? Right now, there's a lot of FUD, right? Bill, you and I were talking about this in the backstage. A lot of FUD about, Federal Reserve, about recession, 2% interest rate. 2% inflation rate. Is that's not going to be able to happen without going into a massive recession? And Bitcoin's kind of going sideways, right? We've seen this kind of bit of a rejection here at 25K. I'm actually going to show my chart here real quick and get you guys' opinion. I want to start doing this so that way I can keep, practicing what I'm learning as well with, the masters on stage. So as you guys can see my screen here, where am I? I think I lost my tabs. All right, here we are. Cool. I can see my screen now. Let me jump out to the daily real quick. But on the daily, right, we missed out of this regression trend. We jumped out. We fell out the last couple of days. Been hitting this resistance at 23,800. Have not been able to retake that level. The Lux Algo here is on the trend. The trend catcher is saying that we are bearish. MACD, let's not even talk about it, right? Might be starting to cool off now, but it's been in a nosedive the last couple of days. If we jump down to the 4 hour, we see it even more, right? Trend catcher, EQ cloud, bearish. Things are going sideways into the range. The upper and lower bounds of the Lux Algo are contracting, and like I said, we can't get past this 23,000. 21,000 seems like a big level of support here if we can retest this and actually maintain it. But if not, I don't know how much lower we can go. Some people are rumoring and talking about heading back lower to the lower end of things, 15,000 or so, because there's just not enough, right? This little rally was a fake out rally, and March is going to be a red month. Where are your guys' thoughts on all of this? Let's start off with Bill. What are your thoughts about just without even looking at the charts? What is happening with the Bitcoin price action right now, and just all the FUD that's been talked about?
Okay, so there's a lot of FUD today. Crypto is performing remarkably well. Okay, now I've always been careful about over celebrating crypto relative performance. Right, crypto is way above where it started the year. Right, and bonds are actually doing worse than where they were. So, that just gives me a little bit of pause. And I'm asking people, like, what kind of risk do you want to take? Because when interest rates rise, very speculative assets like altcoins can get hurt. Now, I'm sure Magic's going to clear it up. But, guys like him and range traders in general, from what I've been listening to, have been like, what, guys, it's nothing personal. It's just a range between, 16 and 23. So we'll just trade the range. Now, I've got some charts. Some are bullish, some are bearish. My audience is giving me a hard time for being cautious. And that's how I would sum it up.
How about you, Magic? How would you sum up what's happening right now in the markets with the price action going sideways?
Yeah, it is a lot of sideways. You have to think that you've just hit a pretty major resistance level of an old range, like 25K. You've got statistical targets both to the upside and downside at this point in terms of how I trade things. I am a range guy, as you guys know, but for me, I look at it as I'm pretty market neutral. I've got my positions from higher up for short still, and some of those are still running anyway. I've taken some of those profits finally and paid myself to make sure that I do lock those gains in, but I leave the hedge portion of it open. Then you've got the longs from 16.6 that are open. So for me, I don't really care what happens. However, when it comes to what's going on right now, you have to think that if we have this major resistance and we've come up to it, it's only natural we get a drawback, even if it's into the range. Do I think that means we're going to 15 or 16K? Do you think that's getting ahead of ourselves? I think that there are going to be opportunities. And if you're going to see a major break, think of what happened. Some of you guys might not have been around, but like 10,000 to 10,500, that resistance that we set in the old 2019 days and 2020 days. that took some consolidation, like 120 days worth, to bust on through in 2020. Yeah, in the summer of 2020 after the halving. And that is kind of, the way I look at this right now. It's not going to just shoot on through this level, most probably. So we should be looking for some form of a pullback and consolidation, and then have our validations in place for a larger. For me, we've actually come into, I have a little different trend than you had. We'll talk about it later, but Bill knows I like to track the 60-day. He's used the 60-day before as well. And our 60-day trend we've come into contact with today. That's kind of what we're bouncing from, actually. And the monthly open is going to play a really big role this month after an indecision candle on the monthly last month, in my opinion. So I would remain neutral. I mean, I like that Bill's being cautious up here, because why wouldn't you be after this thing has rallied the way it has from, 15, 16K all the way up to 25,000 over the course of a few weeks? Like, it's only natural to be cautious up here and protect your capital a little bit.
Dude, perfectly said, right? And I agree with both of what you guys are saying with being cautious. I do think that the 15K going back down is getting ahead of ourselves, right? I do think that some people just get too wild out there, bro. TikTok is a beast, and it's a different animal out there. Like, people, what they're posting, what they're talking about, it's just, I mean, it's another level. So yeah, I do believe that 15 is out of the question so far. I don't think we're gonna go down there. Personally, I think Bitcoin can sustain this 20K range for a while before moving up higher. I think for us to hit the all-time lows again, or lower than the all-time lows, will definitely require something astronomically unexpected to happen. So we're going to do the show a little bit different today. Before we actually jump into Bitcoin and Ethereum, let's start off with some altcoins. Bill, you and I were talking about XRP before the show started. So why don't we start off with XRP and show us what you're talking about with what's happening over there?
Okay. So I'll bring up the XRP chart, and we'll talk a little bit of philosophy when we look at the chart. So I think you have to start breaking ranges and things down into like 89-minute bars, right? Because that's all this market is really giving you. So there's your box in XRP, I think. And all these wicks down here are people just, they're grabbing it below 37 cents. Now, you've had a nice bounce here. Part of what I'm starting to think in XRP, and this is where it can be debate crypto. I'm talking to ChatGPT about Ripple and XRP. And, I learned that the Ripple blockchain can easily be used to run CBDCs. The technology can maybe be licensed out. I mean, they could run the world off the Ripple blockchain as CBDCs. So is this lawsuit about kicking XRP off that blockchain so they can put Fed coin on it? And if that's the case, then I just became an XRP fan. And it may not be a surprise that XRP is trying to rally, or tries to rally, every time there's, such and such government comes out with CBDC, because the Treasury is supposedly out there today admitting that they're working on the technology. So, I mean, what do you want running on the Ripple blockchain? XRP, which you may or may not like, or some sort of coin that can impede your economic freedom.
So let's feed these people some Kool-Aid, because I know the XRP army loves their Kool-Aid.
Right.
What price points are you foreseeing? Right, this is wild speculation. This is nothing, straight up technicals or anything, unless you got some crazy like fractals or some crazy TI you want to show that can actually show that. But where do you think XRP can realistically go, assuming that Fed coin starts to run on XRP? Governments all over the world start to use the technology of XRP, and it becomes what everyone in the XRP army has been dreaming of it to be.
Okay, so let's do it this way. If XRP is somehow handcuffed to or tied to the government, then this like $3 to $5 price target, or going back to its old high, is reasonable, assuming the SEC still allows it, right?
Let's assume they win the lawsuit. The government says, "Hey, we're going to become best friends right now," right? And they do everything that the XRP army is dreaming that will happen for the XRP coin. They become the world reserve currency. All the CBDCs are ran off their blockchain, right? They're running the financial world, right? They eat up the SWIFT system, everything. Do you realistically think that, like, I just want to get your thoughts on where do you think the price of a coin that would do that could potentially go?
Okay, well, I'm hacking something together here on a log chart. So if XRP, if this is actually a trend where this is the first move, this is the second move, and there's, maybe I should do it this way. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, the third wave is usually very powerful. I mean, if for XRP, let's do it this way. For XRP to go above $3 or to $5 or even, beyond that, XRP not only has to be like a clearing and payment system, it's got to become money, right? Like my sort of XRP awakening is, what kind of money do you want? Do you want XRP, or do you want a form of money where the government can tell you whether or not you can spend it? They can give it to you. They can take it away. They can give you a social credit score. I mean, if a CBDC is tied to a social credit score and XRP is still around, then you have to ask yourself, can XRP have a market cap equal to Ethereum? Theoretically, right?
So
It's got to be, XRP has to be money for it to be worth what the army thinks it's worth. It's got to be money.
Okay. Magic, I want to get your thoughts on that. I've seen you do some XRP charts, for the good and for the good and for the bad. Where do you think XRP could realistically go, or just where do you what are your thoughts just in general? What are your thoughts about the XRP phenomenon?
So XRP is XRP. The cult likes their Kool-Aid extra sweet, as I said in the chat here privately with us. Lots of sugar in there. However, let's take a technical approach to it only. And I did this for you guys in 2021 on XRP. Not only did I hand you guys the 29-cent low, I even gave you guys the targets potentially for the upside. So you have a very, very similar thing going on like you did with Bitcoin. Okay. So again, we've talked about this before. We'll go to log, and this is the Bitcoin range before expansion in the last run up. Massive move, right? To $69,000. Look what you have going on with XRP. You have a very similar range. If you were to take this out to the 12-month chart, you guys know how I like my high time frames. You can see that's where these values come from. Okay, so I'll get rid of this right here because it's putting too many lines on the chart. That's where these values come from. This is why this was actually a target for me. It was this untapped yearly level up here. You go down to the weekly now. You had an untapped point of control at 29 cents. That was the target. Put it out on Twitter, put it out on TikTok. Now there's a 4-part series on my TikTok still that's on XRP. And the only one that got taken down was part 5, which was my targets. If we looked at this as the most bullish case, would be the expansion of this range in log scale. And you would essentially just be measuring the percentage of it. So if you were to apply that to here, you're essentially looking for expansion. You are looking about to $20, $18, give or take. That is the overly confident, overly bullish target for XRP. If you guys want the Moon Boy targets, that's my Moon Boy target. It's $20, and people are going to tell me that's not high enough, and I understand that, but that's not what the chart says, and the chart has not failed me yet. So, there's always going to be detractors to that. So take that for what it's worth. If you take a non-logarithmic approach to this, though, however, you're looking like $5. So it all depends.
So this is only possible because it's logarithmic.
Yeah, so we're measuring in percentage, not in linear moves, where it's like a 1-to-1, a true 1-to-1. So we're looking at a logarithmic. So we're saying percentage moves in this case. And with charts, when you're talking about large moves, especially in crypto, where these charts do fluctuate a lot, sometimes hundreds of percentages, logarithmic is actually appropriate. So this is not something that would be out of the question. And I would say that, think about what happened to Cardano in the last run up. Cardano went ham sandwich, 100x basically. But the range it had set in was multi-year. It was huge. Everyone was bored out of their mind with Cardano. They were so tired of Cardano not doing anything, and then it just exploded. Very similar to what you would expect with Bitcoin here. Multi-year range, really large buildup. Same thing could be said for XRP. You've got a huge range to trade here, right? If this expands to the upside, you're going to get follow through. I don't see this just going to $3 and then coming back down. You know, you're going to get some serious price movement. To the downside of that is, again, this is a range. So I don't think we're heading to this. And I said this on there. I don't think it's likely that this would be a distribution top. However, if you expand this range to the downside, just understand the risk. It's not going to be pretty. But if it goes to the upside and XRP succeeds in all the goals that people are saying it's going to do, yeah, I mean, this is a really good return. You got to think, even if you went to $20 here from where you are at 38 cents, you know, what's a 10x 380? You can do that 6 times essentially. So you're looking at a 60x on a large cap coin, which is amazing, you know? And so I don't think that you're going to get this because XRP wins the lawsuit. There's a lot of people that say that. That's not the catalyst for something like this. The catalyst for something like this happening is going to be what Bill was just talking about. That's how this happens. The lawsuit, it doesn't matter. Honestly, the lawsuit, if they win the lawsuit tomorrow, it's going nowhere near its all-time high because of that news. It's going to probably hit like $1, right? Great trade, but that's not what's sending this to the next level. Okay. So that's all I'll say about that. That's how I look at XRP. And I look at XRP as an opportunity right now to trade. And I've been longing XRP, kind of like Bill said, where people are getting trapped under 37 cents. That's been, you know, fill area for me, is down there near that 30-cent mark. That's where I've been filling my bags, and I've been enjoying it. I've been making plenty of good gains on that. So I have no problem trading the coin. I know that you told me you're like, I'll never trade it. But like for me, I'll trade almost anything. I've got no allegiance to anything. I'm all about the percentage gains at that point.
So I want to get your guys' thoughts outside of the TA with what XRP is actually doing. So some fundamentals actually. How do you guys feel knowing that XRP has been a Trojan horse for the community, the crypto community of decentralization, right? And allowing to empower the banks, the same banking system that we were trying to escape from in the first place. They're working with the World Economic Forum. They are launching CBDCs, right? They're doing everything that was anti-crypto at the time when crypto was first started, right? From the cyberpunks, it was all about, you know, fighting the man, right? Getting away from the system. But now we are reintroducing the system to the crypto space through regulation and through some of these crypto projects such as XRP. How do you guys feel about that? Bill, why don't you take that first?
I'll try. Okay, so Ripple Inc. has employees. They have to pay their bills. You know, they have to get some business done. So if someone wants to talk to them about their technology, it could be banks, it could be governments. They're going to take the business and collect the fee. So that's probably what's happening now. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt one way or the other. They're just trying to keep the doors open. Okay, now, would you rather see Ripple step up to the podium at the Treasury and say, hi, we're from Ripple, and we're here with the government, and we're going to join the tell you what to do movement, right? Or can XRP be out there as a cryptocurrency, right? Trading on the free market where people can vote yes or no on whether or not this is money. So if XRP is out there, the people at least get a vote. If XRP is not out there, then the salespeople at Ripple are going to go, well, we have the government and the World Economic Forum who want to give us money. What should we do? Should we take their money or close down? I would rather have Ripple and the world have an option, right? So, you know, before this was just like, yeah, whatever, I don't have an opinion. And now I do, because they have game-changing tech. And if you like Bitcoin and you like Ethereum and you like decentralization, you better hope these guys are on the side of crypto and not on the other side in the long term.
What about you, Magic? How do you feel about the phenomenon with XRP and what they're trying to achieve?
I don't think they have any nefarious intentions. I think that this is just this is what into crypto. XRP is the first cryptocurrency I bought. Full disclosure, it was not Bitcoin. It was XRP. I got in at 3 cents, and I used to be one of those guys who would sit down and listen to all the XRP analysts and stuff talk about what it does. And what interested me so much was just the idea of I'm a big proponent of like the fittest survive. And it just seemed at the time that I was like, okay, this is sound in the sense of what they're proposing. It makes more sense for this to succeed from a technological standpoint. Now I kind of, I think that there's more competition. Interesting to see how things play out. It's not something that's as unique to them anymore, where other companies are competing in this space. Other players are there and present, and including the stalwarts that are already in place, the banks. They're not going to let this go, or try not to. Do I think it's a bad thing if XRP succeeds? No. I think it was going to happen inevitably, whether it was with XRP or another version of it. So I think this is just watching what's going to happen in markets and happen with technology. And if we can profit from it, I mean, that's my main objective is, can I be on the right side of the move? I'm looking out for me, that's it. That's my
everything's a valid viewpoint, dude. Everything's a valid viewpoint.
Yeah.
100%. You're there to make the money. That's fine, dude. There's nothing wrong with that.
I have no vested interest if they fail or win. Let's put it that way. Because if the chart starts tanking, I'm getting out. Like, I'm not gonna hold diamond hand XRP. I won't even diamond hand Bitcoin. Why would I diamond hand XRP or anything of the like? So I'm one of those people that it's a little bit more ruthless take on the market. I don't care who succeeds. I just want to be a part of it and make sure that I'm getting my cut of the cake when it happens.
There it is. I mean, it is what it is, right? Everybody has to have their own strategies, methods that work for them, right? And some people will diamond hand XRP to zero, right? Some people will diamond hand Bitcoin to zero. Other people are waiting for that $20 XRP or that $589 XRP. And talking about that, I just want to remind people, smash those likes if you haven't smashed those likes. Go follow these two guys right here if you're not following them. Their videos and their description is down below. Make sure that if you do get your XRP to $20, that you go and pay your crypto taxes, right? Because that is coming. It's tax season, baby, and there ain't no way you're gonna get away around that. So make sure that if you are taking any profits, if you are crypto trading, price CPA is where it's at. This man is saving people tens of thousands of dollars legally, not get in trouble. And right, a lot of people get anxious when it comes to tax. They don't know how taxes work. They especially don't know how crypto taxes work. And this guy will walk you through everything from zero to a hero. So make sure you go check out the link down below. Price CPA will help you on your taxes. Don't mess up, guys. You don't want to get locked up for something dumb like not paying taxes. So let's move on here with Bitcoin, right? We've talked about Bitcoin going sideways. We talked about, being rejected at 23,000 or whatever it was. Where are you guys seeing Bitcoin right now, technically, fundamentally, and how is this, next month looking? Bill, why don't we start with you?
Okay, so let me let's share the screen here. I think I'm already up. No. Okay, here we go.
I think you were, and then you canceled. There you go.
Okay. All right, there's a couple ways to look at this. Most of it involves Elliott wave, right? So if you look at the recent uptrend in Bitcoin, the low was made on November 21st, right? And then this little red one, that's the first wave up. And then you get a quiet correction, right? That was wave 2. And of course, you get the depression phase, which is when people were just so depressed. This was the end of Binance. Naturally, when you get sentiment that extreme, when you've had 1, 2, extreme bearish sentiment, depression, 3, it's up only, right? So I got up only. You get the 4-wave correction, and Elliott wave moves normally have 5 waves, and this is done by Tom DeMark, like a quantitative system. So it takes kind of the subjectivity out of it, and this is your 5-wave buying climax up to 25K. So what's happening here? It's pretty much nothing. Nothing is happening here, right? Now, what can Bitcoin do on a weekly chart? Okay, this is where I went from, I don't know. Hopefully I can go back to popular. I thought this is Bitcoin overall, right? So this was the high at 60K. And I thought this was, the whole bear market was just a correction. It was just A, B, C. That's it, done, right? We correct, and then we're off to the races, and you buy the next dip because, this is the first wave up, and then, you buy the next dip. I would love to do that because it's not a bull market until you can buy a dip and make money. Then you start to see what's going on with interest rates. You start to see some weird stuff, and you look at the alternative count, which is, starting at the top of the bear market, 1, 2, FTX was the end of 3. This euphoric rally to 25 was 4. And then there's going to be some sort of oopsie daisy, like return to 16, right? Like Magic has July for the summer rally, right? I have something similar, right? You want to kind of maybe sell in May and go away a little bit and come back and hoover it up in the summer for that hot July rally. The question is, where is it going to be? Like, where is this thing going to be in 3 months, right? Is it going to be at 28 or is it going to be at 19 or 18? Okay. When I look at just this, I'm like, I'm having a hard time ignoring this chart. What do I think?
Or do you think we're going to 28 or 19? What's more likely?
Well, I want to say 28, right? Realistically, if interest rates continue to go higher, I think my motto is make them sell it to you at a good price, right? In other words, I think you may actually wind up getting this, say, at 20 or 21. Okay. And then if it crashes through there, we have to reevaluate, as Magic said. I'm for being patient and making him sell it to you at a good price. I don't know what that good price is. My guess would be 20.
So you're thinking that 20K is more likely right now than 28 just because of how things are going, the rumors with the Federal Reserve. I think the rumor is now that they might actually increase 50 basis points instead of a 0.25 or a cool down. Is that correct?
Well, that's the talk. The real issue is what happens with the integrity of our bond market. In other words, everyone's focused on the Fed, and I've got this incredible double top in long bond yields, right? So, in other words,
a double top.
So yeah, right. In other words, I have a double top in long bond futures, right? It's this chart that I was showing today on the market update, right? So this is technical analysis textbook, page 60,
and that's bullish for the crypto space.
No, this is not. No,
this is not.
This is price. So if bond prices go down, bond yields go up. Right. So, long bond futures, they make a top, they take this support out. Now, if this is a stop fixing exercise, great. Then my audience who wants to fade me, so they've got inverse Kramer ETF, and now we have inverse Bill crypto, at least for one day. All right. But this double top in bonds means bonds can potentially make a new low, which means you can have much higher interest rates, like much higher mortgage rates. Let's put it that way. Right. No speculative asset can survive a debacle in long bonds. So that's why I'm like, hey, why don't we make them sell it to you at a good price? Because if you chase and get caught with this, then you lose capital. And you want to be down there if they give you the dip. Like, that's my impassioned plea.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, man, it's so wild. There's so many things happening. You got to be looking at 100 different charts, 100 different assets, your Federal Reserve, right? There's just so many things happening that it's hard. It's hard to keep up, and it's hard to condense everything down. But, it's great news to hear that you have an inverse thing. I mean, I think that's actually a pretty cool thing because it just goes to tell you, I'm not giving you financial advice, so you can do your own thing and then just do the opposite of what I'm telling you. So from a legal standpoint, it seems like it's the way to go. So I think you're ahead of your time on that one. Magic, how are you feeling about Bitcoin? I saw you put your glasses on, so I know it's about to get serious.
I'm trying to read ATAS because there were some people talking about some numbers, and I just wanted to check in on some volume real quick. How am I feeling about Bitcoin? Well, let's talk about the local price action, and we'll kind of bleed that into the high time frames. Your monthly open at 134 is what we're going to discuss first, why it's so important, and why statistics matter, right? So you can see I don't have any levels on this chart. 24,700 being the level that was all important coming into this past week. If you guys recall, that's what we had to get back above. You go out to a weekly time frame, and you'll see that we have not closed a weekly candle above 24/7 since all the way back here, right? It's been holding us down, serving as a pseudo swing fail zone. And then you can see I've got time here running off of the last 6-month session, showing us that we would be expecting local topping patterns here coming into resistance as well during this time. If it pushes through here and we get a new trend, we can account for that. Now, when we start looking at this, so we'll go back to the weekly, just kind of illustrate what I was talking about. You can see this is your supply zone. We look and we can see this is our next local support down below us at like 21.7, and we can dive into why that's probably going to be important. So if we look at the last 60 days of price action, I label these as the 2M1 because it's the first 2 months of the year, and then I'll dissect the next 2 months and 2 months, so forth till the year's over. This is your range. You can also see it supports the idea of coming down to like this 21.7, 21.8 area if the monthly open is lost. Why? You're then putting pressure onto this major point of control, which is actually the overall point of control of all data included going back to June has now shifted up. This used to be $20,000. Now your overall maximum level of volume has come in at 23,000 since coming up to this region. So it's shifted up. I mean, if we start losing 23K or the monthly open, what's beneath us is not great. I think that we have a pit stop at 21.7, but more realistically, we'll probably fill that gap at just under 20 and come down to 19,347, give or take. We'll be looking at this as an overall merged range at this time. Now, another thing to note is just like we did with, ATAS there, this is just the 40 tick volume profile for TradingView. This is your value area high, this white line of the overall merged range. You can see it right here. So one statistical deviation. What are you doing? You're trying to hold that level of support because you're not trying to find acceptance back into this range. If you do, it's a quick drop. This is showing you the point of control is still down here, but again, this is a 40 tick, a little different. So this is what most traders are going to be looking at. They're not necessarily long. You pull up your gold, where's it coming in at? We're looking at the value area low and the 40 tick point of control where all that volume was at, right? So the 60-day trend looks like so. You can see we just closed it right here on the 28th of February. And you can see that we're riding that trend at the key support of the monthly open, at the value area high of our overall range. So we really need to see this getting some form of continuation. Now, 24.7 was the key level before, but now we can move the bar down. So just like when, price is going up or down, sometimes if it meets a resistance, whether it's support tends to move up over time in a trend, right? Well, what we're seeing now is the inflection point is moving down. So someone's trying to push this price down and some people are trying to push it up. So you're going to start seeing it squeeze into a pattern where 24K is now the key area that I'm not convinced, but if we get above 24K, looking at prior data from February, just February, nothing else, you can now come in and say that if we look at just the last monthly data, because that's important too, you can see that our POC is all the way up here at 24.7, which is a pretty big area. So pushing through 24K makes me think we're going to come all the way back up to this 24.7 up to 24.868 zone. But at that time, I'm really more interested in seeing if we can actually make it, to be honest with you, just based on what's going on in the order flow up in this region. I just don't think that there's many people up here that you're going to have to like swing fail and take out at that time. So I would expect to move higher. So 24K is now the new zone where if we're above that, that's going to be putting some pressure on for a new high. You break down below 23,134, you're going to see this consolidation. You're going to see price squeezing along this trend over the next coming days. Could be boring, and we're going to get a good size move out of it. Now, the flip side of that is, maybe we don't get that and we remain range bound, which is always a possibility. You always remain like locally range bound. What I mean by that is like 22.8, 23,000 up to like 24.7 to 25. That could happen. We've seen that happen before. But from what I see, we've got some very clear invalidations. I'm still holding my longs from lower. I think that's the play. But as Bill has said, if we get that correction down, have a game plan and make them sell it to you at a good price. As he said, I love that saying. It's a great saying. And it's a very easy way to remind yourself that you would shop prices on cars. You'll shop prices on vacuum cleaners. Make sure you're shopping price on crypto assets too, and getting good prices for these assets. And there is some value to be built sub 20K, whether you buy 20K or maybe it comes all the way down to like 19.2. you're going to be happy either way. You're going to get a good price at that time. Buying at 23K and 25K, maybe in 5 years, you'd be like, oh, I don't regret it. But you might regret it for a few months if you don't make them sell it to you at a good price here locally, you know. And that's why you guys are tuning in. You're tuning in because you want to know, is this the right time to be pulling the trigger? We're not here to tell you when that is. We're just here to kind of give you ideas and let you form your own plan. You know, are you always going to get to buy at the perfect price? No. But if you have a plan and you execute when those opportunities do arise, you'll be much happier with yourself over time. I can tell you that right now. It doesn't have to be stressful. You know, if you're just going to blindly DCA, to me, that's more stressful, you know, buying on a more regimented schedule at good prices.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there you guys have it, right? You guys are looking for certain areas to keep an eye on, right? It's not telling you what to do or what not to do, but that 23,000 level, if we lose it, it's might get ugly, right? And then if we don't cross that 24,000 into that 25,000 area, right, then we're not going to be seeing any new higher levels. So that's kind of the range that we're stuck in. That's what we kind of been doing for this last couple of weeks now. So there it is. Those are the levels for Bitcoin right now, and then we'll see what happens. I have one more question for you, both of you. It's not technical. It's not technically related. It is at a point, but it's not a technical question. Straightforward. What do you guys think about super cycles? Right, the length of the cycles of crypto. If Bitcoin can hit some new levels, right, some high levels like maybe 30,000, up to 40,000 by the end of this year, going into the halving event of next year, right? So if we can end the year somewhere north of 30, right, heading closer to that 40,000, maybe even a little bit higher, what do you guys think will happen for Bitcoin's price once we enter into the halving of next year and past that point, right? Because the bull cycle doesn't really start until about almost a year after the halving. So if we're already at the level of north of 30, do you guys think that we could trigger a super cycle for the price action of Bitcoin? Because I know we've mentioned here on the show before that conservatively Bitcoin might top out at like 150 or a little bit south of 150 at best next cycle. Do you think that we could blow past that if we super cycle? What are your thoughts, Bill?
All right, well, let's start with something simple, right? At 16K, crypto Twitter is cheering for the demise of Binance. At 25K, we're talking super cycle. Okay. And that's just human nature. So I get it.
Yeah.
Now, when you have super cycle talk and you have talk about the halving is not going to drive a super cycle. A super cycle is going to get driven by a legacy event, either a decoupling, which people have been waiting for since 2016. I remember when Magic said that. I never forgot it. Okay. There's got to be an event where digital assets, where money from legacy pours into digital assets, right? On my show, Ethereum's like 40% higher than it was at the close of 2022, and bonds are lower. There's evidence that it may be happening right now. So if you have a super cycle, it's because money from legacy finds its way into digital assets. So like, for example, SEC, if they fail, right? If Gensler gets discredited by a Republican Congress, there are all these factors that are going to drive a super cycle. And then don't forget good old fashioned Web3, right? If ETH becomes the currency of culture, or they figure out how to get a Bitcoin yield curve. In other words, somebody like Michael Saylor starts issuing debt denominated in Bitcoin, and then that debt helps you form an interest rate system that's credible for Bitcoin. Now, I don't know if
that is an interesting one. That is definitely an interesting scenario there.
Right.
Go ahead.
Why these whales don't do it? Novogratz, Saylor, I don't know. Maybe it's regulatory, but you're going to have a paradigm shift. Now, is there enough weird stuff going out there in the world to drive an event like that? Yes. I'm just thinking, just on a contrarian basis, the stuff that everybody thinks worked, the stuff that worked last time isn't necessarily going to be the stuff that works next time. Last time it was the halving and the Fed printing 6T in 1 month. Next time it'll be something it'll be something different.
Yeah, and before that was the ICO craze, right? Along with
Right.
Bitcoin, the whole speculation of Bitcoin finally getting futures trading and all this stuff, and that all that drove that entire cycle. Like I said, last cycle was the inflation, the money printing, all the craziness, and now this next cycle is going to have some other driver that's going to be pushing it, and maybe I definitely think like you said, the whales, the Bitcoin whales, doing that. What was it you called, the debt, not denominating
No,
debt in Bitcoin?
they create a yield curve. In other words, Bitcoin, instead of having an interest rate determined by Celsius, right? It's determined by an actual market mechanism. So if Bitcoin is a currency, it should have an interest rate. And if they figure that out, wow, decentralized interest rates, right?
And there's the bonds market. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it requires innovation,
Yeah.
and it requires a shift where people just look at legacy and go, oh man, I can't.
The IMF is going to be pissed if they do that. Let me tell you. I think that's probably why one of the whales haven't done it, because they were pissed when El Salvador adopted Bitcoin. If these whales here in the United States ever start talking about doing things like that, I think that's
Right.
why
Well,
it hasn't happened.
right. Well, El Salvador, it's not a coincidence that El Salvador made its Bitcoin embassy in Texas because, there's a saying where I live, don't mess with Texas, and we won't say why, but we all know why. So,
Magic, what do you think about super cycle? What do you think?
Uh,
What would be a
you know,
price target that Bitcoin would have to hit to trigger that super cycle to happen?
price target to hit. I mean, for me, that 47K area is just so important still, and that's way up there. It's like getting way out of hand when we talk about that. It could happen. I mean, anything can happen. There's some Elliott wave guys out there that think this is like a giant wave 4 and the super cycle's coming. They're out there. Those guys were also buying at 30K, 25K, et cetera, probably 40K even. So do I think it's the best thing to latch your teeth to or latch yourself to right away? No, I think we're probably going to mirror last cycle a little bit, but in terms of like what could cause it, I think Bill covered it really, really well. I think adoption's a big part of it too, but getting an actual yield on it, and I think someone like Gary Gensler could push Bitcoin into the forefront there as well, going after all these projects and shutting down the money that's flowing into more speculative assets. Because crypto, by and large, is kind of a gambling thing for a lot, even firms. We're finding out the biggest chads in crypto, all these firms that we thought were awesome, were just degen gambling and with leverage, and they were no better than the average retail trader in some cases. They just had more money to throw around. What happens if they don't have 2,000 altcoins or 20,000 or whatever it is to choose from? Right. And a lot of the NFTs are getting under attack too from the SEC a little bit from how they're marketing. So if something like that happens and regulation happens and these projects that can't defend themselves, that don't really have any real value, disappear, where does this new money go? It's not going to go into these projects anymore. It's going to roll into Bitcoin and Ethereum, maybe even coins like XRP, the stalwarts that are trying to play by the rules and have the reputation. Do I think that's enough to drive a super cycle? No, but it could be a factor that comes along with it, So it's just one thing.
That's a great point. That's a great point, right? And we've mentioned that here before too, that this last cycle, Bitcoin didn't go as high as some people expected for that exact same reason. There's just so many other distractions where money is flowing to, which is very different from the 2017, 2018, right? 2017, 2018, all the money was going towards Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? And some of the other altcoins, but nothing was ripping like Ethereum and Bitcoin was. And we didn't have NFTs, we didn't have DeFi, we didn't have any of that stuff, right? We just had ICOs, and that's where some of the money was going, but that was all being built on Ethereum. Now, in this last cycle, we had NFTs pop off. We had a bunch of DeFi projects pop off. We've had 100 million other altcoins pop off, right? And a lot of that money has gone away to these different assets instead of Ethereum, instead of Bitcoin, instead of some of the top tier projects. So I think that's a very good idea, or point that you were saying about if regulation comes in, wipes that off the planet, right? Wipes off all the stable coins, wipes off a lot of the NFT projects, wipes off a lot of the other unregulated projects and all the other illegal stuff that's happening. And the death of the 99% of altcoins happens. then where does money have to go? It has to go back to Ethereum. It has to go back to Bitcoin and the few other survivors. And then the concentration of wealth will drive those assets to have, what people might call a super cycle or not, but the money will be concentrated there. People won't be so distracted with the next, Elon, Doge, Inu, Floki, whatever marshmallow coin that comes out, right? So I think that's a very good point. You guys bring two very, very good points on why Bitcoin could pop off and how that could happen, whether it's a super cycle or not. And yeah,
I think
I
that
agree
when
with it.
that happens too, it's a sign of a maturing market. That was the narrative
Yeah.
coming into this last cycle, if you recall, was Bitcoin's such a mature asset. Crypto's mature now because we got hedge funds that are in it now. Not quite, it turns out not quite.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Turns out those aren't.
We have Alameda. Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out that wasn't the barometer we should have been watching for that distinguishment. So, yeah, it is what it is.
Guys, I hope everyone's smashing those likes. We got 70 something people in here. We got 39 likes. Let's get those likes up, guys. Let's get 70 likes here. Guys, if you're not following Magic Internet Money, if you're not following, well, I did that opposite. If you're not following Bill, if you're not following Magic, make sure you go down to the description of the video. There are links right there to their YouTube, to their Twitters. Go follow them. They have their own live streams every single day. Make sure you go watch their content. They come here every single Thursday and Monday to show you guys tons of information for free. Right, so go support these guys, and you can do that by following them, liking their videos. It's very simple and it's free as well. So, guys, let's close out the show today with I think that this year is going to be interesting. I think people need to zoom out a lot more and not focus so deeply into like the week to week. And I've said this multiple times, right? With Bitcoin, with crypto, people are so narrow focused on what is happening today. What is the news saying today about Bitcoin? Where is the Bitcoin price today? And I understand it's important if you're a trader, but the majority of people like me, I'm not a trader. I like to zoom out. It calms me down. I know where the future of Bitcoin could be going, where it's most likely going. Money is going digital. There is a transfer of wealth happening from the fiat dying system into the crypto space. Whether that's a CBDC or that's Bitcoin or that's whatever, it's happening in the crypto space. So I'm keeping an eye on that, and I believe that that's where it's going. So I don't like to stress myself out with the day-to-day stuff. What are your guys' final words here for the people before we sign off?
All right. Well, I'm branding myself on the Thursday show with cheesy sayings. So, don't make too much of any one day. Try to make them sell it to you at a good price, because the bigger the base, the higher in the space. Right.
Let's go.
Even if it dips, right, or even if it goes down a lot, it's still a long-term base. Right. I just want to make sure my audience has capital so that they can take advantage of, the hot summer rally.
Bill, I think you should write fortune cookies, but for crypto investors. Crack it open. It's just a rhyme from Bill Noble. I'll be honest, man. I'd buy that cookie. Like,
all right, man. Well, I'll let the marketing people know, man.
Yeah, there you go. Bill Noble fortune cookies. That's got to be a new segment somewhere. Anyways,
dude, that
sounds like an NFT project.
It's got to be a solution, man.
Sounds like an NFT project.
That's pretty good. You've got some good ones. I like it. I say this all the time on your guys' channel. I feel very redundant in doing it, but a lot of times when I come on here and I'm telling you guys my thoughts on the market, all I'm trying to do is give you ideas so that you can sit down with yourself and make a plan. Because your plan is going to be different than Crusader's plan. It's going to be different than Bill's plan. It's going to be different than my plan at the end of the day. So it is one of those things where sit down with yourself, write it down, have a plan. You're in this space. And if you're in this space just to make money, it can be had, but you're not going to do that without a good plan in place. Whether you like the technology or not, you come in here and you just go wild, wild west. I think what I left on another creator's thing, they said, give one piece of advice. I was like, more than likely, you're going to lose your ass at least once in crypto. Make sure you learn from that mistake. And that's it, and a lot of that comes down to writing things down and having a plan, because you are playing with your money. It's not, it's nothing light to joke around with, in my opinion. So not to get too serious at the end. But
100% agree with that. It happens. Everybody loses at some point. Nobody's perfect. The greatest investors all think that they're the best when it's a bull market. When it becomes a bear market, they quickly realize how sadly mistaken they were. But on a lighter note, if you guys want to win 5 ETH, scan this QR code right here. Go to our website, Danger Close Alpha, and make sure you guys are minting some beans, bullets, and bourbon every 100 mints. And we're only 45 minutes away from giving away one of these vests. These are real life saving vests. Make sure you get some beans, bullets, and bourbon. You could save yourself with one of these vests. You could be winning 5 ETH, which is huge for your portfolio, whether you're a long-term investor or a short-term investor. Regardless, we're going to have a fun game. Somebody's going to win 5 ETH. 13 people are going to get some vests. So make sure you get involved. Join Danger Close Alpha. And guys, like always, question everything, trust nothing. And until next time, hodl like it's hot. See you guys.